Wait.
Hey,
Go live. And the error occurred. What? Okay, so let me take my man. I'll remove Edo. I'm gonna take Edo out of here because some reason I'm having a problem with his channel. Okay. Boom. Okay.
all right, what's going on, y'all? I go by the new 1%, and this is James Six8Jay. And today, what we came to talk about is empowering prosperity and why blockchain matters for all people. All right, so I'm gonna just kick it right off. So my first question that I have for you, Jay, was do you and why do you believe that this is a once in a lifetime opportunity?
Once in a lifetime opportunity. Well, first, let me say what's up to everybody that's here. Shouts out to the community. Shouts out to my man, the new 1%. And for those of you guys joining us, I appreciate you guys. Nest Force in the house. I see you, my man. DCA, Crypto Dave, and all you guys that might be catching us as we're going. It was very, very little announcement, last minute announcement. So I definitely appreciate you guys. What's up, Michael? The boss man is in the house. Good to see you, Michael. So before I get into the question, guys, we'll also be going live at 5 p.m., which is in about an hour and a half. I'll be doing my regular stream, but I want to give my man the opportunity to stream through not only his platform, but my platform as well. So thank you guys. Make sure you guys go and follow this gentleman as well, up and coming. And hopefully we'll be able to share your YouTube and your X account on this as well. So the question was, why is this such an important opportunity? I mean, man, look, for me, this is, you know, me and you kind of talk backstage as far as, you know, where we come from, the struggle, and all those type of things. So I just think it's one of those things that, you know, I was just having a conversation with one of my good friends that stayed this last week with us, and a realtor buddy of mine that we just kind of connected with as we were looking at houses. Yeah. He's an African-American brother as well. And, you know, it's just recognizing that most of the time, man, you know, we don't get this opportunity in life. You know, our parents, I know my mom and dad didn't get it. This is something that we typically hear about after it happens, you know, like, oh, a bunch of people made money in the beginning of the internet, or a bunch of people made money who got in Uber on the ground floor or Airbnb or whatever the case may be. So a lot of times we don't have the opportunity that we have in front of us. And it's something that that really resonated with me, because a lot of times being 6'8", you know, being a ex-ball player, you know, either you had to be an athlete, you had to sing, rap, or throw a football, do something. Right. And what I love about crypto is it's one of the fairest forms of capitalism. Anybody can do it. It's all about timing, doing your research, and it's definitely a life changer, So yeah, I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, man. It's definitely a life changer. And what I realize is that, you know, a lot of people don't really know about investing or really know how to invest. You know, I even asked my dad, like, you know, back in 1997, 1996, when Apple and Amazon were a thing, you know, why didn't you invest in these things? And he was like, well, he heard about these things, they knew about these things, but back then you needed a brokerage account and you had to jump through a lot of hoops just to be able to invest. Nowadays, now that we have the internet, a lot of people use it for good, a lot of people use it for bad. You know, now you can go and look at people, they're looking up cats falling from the ceiling, but they're not actually using the internet for what it's supposed to be used for, and that's knowledge. You know, right. So it's good to use that the internet for gaining knowledge and being able to, you know, free your family from you know, the things that may have kept them back in the past, and right. That's really big. That's a really big thing.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, and I think, you know, I think a lot of it too, man, is they've created so much fear and chaos in this market. You know, with you know, Operation Choke Point 2.0, obviously coming out. And again, I don't want to make this a political thing about Democrats or Republicans, but there was a dark cloud over this country, United States, just, you know, 8-9 months ago under the last administration. And I don't think it's really about, you know, Republican, Democrat as much as it's just agenda. And once they realized, which I think they were late to the game, right? A lot of these big money guys were late to the game. They did everything they could. As we were talking about, you know, you saw Rick from the start. They did everything they could to stifle this innovation, and in my opinion, really just keep people from being able to position.
Right, exactly. Yeah. That's a big thing. So my next question that I have for you was, So do you believe that people who come from the struggle or a poor background should feel more enticed to take advantage of this opportunity because of historical disadvantages?
Oh, yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, I think what's amazing about this, and obviously we're still in the early stages. I won't say we're early, but we're still very early, right? Because we're in before regulatory clarity. We're in before we see institutional adoption the way that we know it's getting ready to happen. We had kind of like that mainstream adoption, the Sailors, the Michael Saylors, the Kathy Wozark investments, and all those type of things. But we haven't had that type of and we watch Bitcoin, obviously go from 4 cents to where it's at now. Ethereum go for a little nothing to where it's at. So those bigger opportunities or those old school opportunities, but I think the biggest opportunities are still in front of us. And I'm really, really excited about that. What was the actual question you were saying as far as taking advantage? So, for me, I think the way I always talk, as far as to my audience and to my family, it's like the mindset is if we do just enough, a little bit more than our parents did, that's kind of how I was raised. If you get a little bit better car, a little bit better house, a little bit better education, and make a little bit more money, you made it. And I think this gives us an opportunity to break that genealogy curse, or that curse that of what we were taught to teach our kids or what have you. So I think that's what's important about it, is that it gives people the opportunity to dream again. That's always one of the things I always talk about is like when we were young, we used to have these huge dreams, and then reality kicks in, and then that those responsibilities kick in, whether it's having a kid too quick or having to get a job too quick, and then you start putting everything on the back burner, and then you find yourself trading time for money, and that's where a lot of, I think, for us as people, and I say people meaning that people struggling, minorities, whatever the case may be, that's where a lot of the depression, a lot of the frustration comes into, because we're realizing we're living a life that we're not happy with. We're doing just enough not to get fired. They're paying us just enough not to quit, and then we're hoping to retire on a percentage what barely got us buying the first damn place. So I think crypto gives us a reality check and gives us an opportunity to dream again.
Yeah. I feel the same way, and I do feel that people of everyone really should feel more enticed to get into this opportunity. And like I said before, now that we have the internet, now that we have Coinbase, we have Robinhood, we have all these other platforms that you can use to take advantage of these opportunities. If we would just take the time out to research and separate the good and the bad, and really research and find out what is it that each and every one of us can do in our everyday lives to push ourselves forward into the future. And learning about how money works, which is one of the videos I did, is very important, because once you look back into 1971, well, before that, when the Bretton Woods Agreement was signed and the dollar was backed by gold, fast forward to 1971, when President Nixon took us off the gold standard, that made money debt, fiat debt. And ever since then, we have been printing a shitload of money. And then, fast forward to 2008, when the housing crisis happened, basically the banks thought that they could mess up as much as they want, because they knew that Big Brother would come in and save them. You know what I mean? And that really messed up the future generations. And so it's really important for us to understand and appreciate this opportunity that we have, because opportunities like this don't come often. It's really a once in a lifetime opportunity. And if you really can just open your sights and present your gaze to the future and the now, you will actually notice this opportunity. And I figured out that this was a big opportunity a few years ago when I got into crypto. And ever since then, I've just been hooked.
Yeah, I think one of the things that's exciting to me is really just seeing a lot of the people that are in this space right now, having a lot of conversations with folks, just the excitement of knowing that everything's getting ready to change. Like I said, we have some friends down. We've been having it's been about 5 days since I've gone live, just kind of enjoying friends and taking some time off and preparing for some things that I got going on. But it's just exciting times, man. And I was telling my realtor and my buddies last night, I said, man, we couldn't ask to be in a greater time than right now. I know it's chaotic. I know people are, oh my God, but it's so funny because people were acting the same way now that they were acting at 50 cent XRP. And
Exactly.
here we are at $1. I mean, at $3 and something cents, and they're still acting like. And I just think that's what it is. People are looking for microwavable results. I always tell people, especially my friends and family, like, look, what did you do 5 years ago? If you're not where you want to be at 5 years, if you're not where you want to be at from 5 years ago, then can you give another 4.5 to 5 years? Because now, they're talking about. There's been some things I've been trying to catch up with right now as far as with some of these price predictions, but they're saying from some really big sources that we could be looking at a 6-figure XRP in the next 4.5 years. That's huge.
And
when
I'm
you
glad I'm sorry to cut you off, but I'm glad
you're good.
I'm glad you actually pointed that out, because I have a friend. He introduced me to, well, I heard him talking about Bitcoin and Ethereum back in like 2012, right? And he's known about XRP since it came out. Fast forward to now, he's, when I'm sending him these videos, he's like, oh, well, they've been talking about this for years and they've been doing this for years. So
Yeah.
People who've been in this community for a while, they've gotten so fed up to the point where they don't understand that. I told my friend, like, now is the time that counts. We have a pro-crypto administration. We have, the SEC chair is pro-crypto. We have laws being, now is the time where you really want to pay attention. You don't want to, you've been in this stuff since, the beginning. You don't want to lose faith now, because I know they've been saying these things for a long time, but what we have to understand is that the governments move very slow. They're going to move at their own time. All of this stuff is methodical. And it all seems like it's honestly planned out, because when something bad happens, there's always something good that pops in and allows our, crypto to flourish. So I do feel like it's planned. I do feel like the governments around the world are try to stifle this innovation enough just so that they could join in. You know what I mean? Because if the average day person misses the boat, we miss the boat. You know what I mean? But if wealthy misses the boat, they could bring the boat back.
Exactly.
So that's exactly what they're doing right now. They're bringing the boat back, which leaves us more time to invest and take advantage of this opportunity and become a part of the new 1%.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I definitely want to add to that. First of all, again, shouts out to all you guys that are joining us. Shouts out to my man. If you guys don't know, I just connected with this gentleman. He reached out to me and said, hey, Jay, took a leap of faith. Hey, Jay, I want to interview you. Let's do a live together. So after 5 days, I said, let's go ahead and do it. So again, if you just joined right now, I will be live again in an hour and a half doing our regular show. So, but man, please, where can these guys find you at before we continue on? Where can they find you on your X or your YouTube?
So you can find me on X at the new 1%, all spelled out. You can find me on YouTube from the same name, the new 1%.
Okay, nice. So to kind of piggyback off what you just said, the problem is the new 1%. Well, I mean, that's kind of a long thing. I just call you M, since I know you really. I just call you M. So the crazy thing, M, is that I think right now everyone that we know that we tried to tell about this, they didn't listen. They got that shoulda, coulda, woulda mentality. Which is I bet people felt that way when they saw Bitcoin at $100 and then it got to $1,000. Oh no, it's too expensive. I think that's where people are at right now with XRP. And one of the biggest questions I get from everybody is, this a good time to buy? And I was just talking to my community about this not too long ago. It's like that really the best person who has that answer is you, right? So if you haven't done any research, if you don't know what's going on, then no, I don't think you should invest anything. But if you do know what's going on and you have done the research and you understand Ripple, they just got, they applied for a banking license, and the 8 or 9 or 10 different things they got with ETFs and regulatory clarity and the SEC dropping the appeal and just so many different variables that we can go on and on about. But I think if you understand those things and you believe that one day XRP can hit $1,000 or $100 or 10,000, some of these other numbers that Jimmy Valley and these guys come on my show and said 60,000, in years to come. Well, if you believe that, then $3 is a great buy. But I think the right answer is based off of your research and what you believe, and then your individual situation as well. So I think regret is going to keep a lot of people out of this incredible. And there's so many more assets out there besides you got XDC, which I think they go live on Binance USA tomorrow, which is crazy. You got XLM, you got HBAR, Algo, you got these Zebex and the XCN. You got so many assets out there from the, one of the things I talk about, M is a 70-20-10, right? So if I have $1,000, I'm putting 70% in the more guaranteed assets, like your XLMs, your I would say Bitcoin and Ethereum, but I think that opportunity is gone. But your 70%ers, and then I put 20% in those assets, like it might be like your Matic and whatever the case may be, that are going to be on the level of Bitcoin and XRP, and then 20% or 10% will be in like those they got a chance, the VRAs, the Zebex, the XCNs, or whatever that are up and coming. And so I think that's where people go wrong, is they want a home run. It doesn't work that way, and it definitely takes a lot of patience, which I think is going to be another killer for people, is that everyone's looking for microwavable results for sure.
Yeah, they do. And one thing that I really want our communities to really understand is, don't worry about the price. It's the intrinsic value that really counts. You know what I mean? Whether it's XRP at 15 cents, 20 cents, $1, $3, $5. Well, if you're looking at the intrinsic value, that makes your investment way more worthwhile. You know what I mean? When you can actually be a visionary, especially a tech visionary, and you can see into the future, you can go on these websites and see who they're partnering with. You know what I mean? You can watch YouTube videos and see who they're talking to, and there may not be only 500 viewers on there. But if you know what's going on, and you have the intrinsic value of that digital asset, or any asset of that matter, then it allows you to not really look at the price and just make the investment based off of the technology and what it does and what it can do for the greater good of mankind.
Yeah, I agree with you, and thank you so much, Ness, for us, one of our greatest community members, for putting out the new 1%. Yeah, we got a hell of a community, man. So I'm gonna definitely ask everybody to jump into your community, and likewise, I definitely appreciate your mindset as a young brother out here doing some great things. I got nothing but respect for you. So anything I can do to help you grow and have that type of exposure, we're gonna help you do that.
Thank you, man. I definitely appreciate the opportunity. This is a once in a lifetime opportunity, let alone be it in crypto, so
appreciate you.
Good thing. Yeah. So what I wanted to get into next is, so what, in your opinion, are some things that can be done to teach our children about blockchain during adolescence that will spark their interest at a younger age, where they're normally by nature more susceptible to drift into content that has no value?
Man, I think my answer is going to be simpler than your question, and that is to just involve them. It's kind of like, I think that's one of the biggest things that, when it comes, as a parent who's raised 6 kids, just being engaged and engaging them, get them off the doggone computer or the laptop or the Xbox or all this nonsense, and say, look, I found a way, regardless of what your friends are doing or what their parents might be saying. I found a way. And I tell my kids all the time, Dad is doing the things today that other people won't do, in order for you guys to have the things tomorrow that other people won't have. And it's just that simple. It's that simple as involve them and teach them, so that it's not just one of the things when XRP goes to $100 or $500 or $1,000, they're like, give me some. No, they're going to understand the value of what you're doing. And, one of the conversations I've been having with my family here lately is like, look, man, I'm not worried about pulling out, $10 million or $15 million or to go spend. What I'm looking at right now, which to me is one of the ways of breaking that generational curse, is yield. How do we earn money on our assets? Because if I could teach my kids that, then they'll understand the value. So when Dad is long gone, they'll understand, look, I'm not, if there's any truth to what they're talking about, look, I don't want to sell a thing before it hits $100,000. And there's somebody out there saying, man, you crazy as hell, is not going to hit 100,000. Well, they said that about Bitcoin too, at 4 cents and at $1 and at $10 and at $100. And look at where we're at now. And so you're talking about an asset that was created to be better than Bitcoin in every way by some of the same developers that actually helped develop the development of Bitcoin. So yeah, it's just that to me is a game changer, brothers. Education, teaching, and that way they can continue what you started.
Yes, and that's very important. I don't have any kids right now, but when I do have kids, it's very important for them to know at a very young age, because that's where you start. You start with the kids at a very young age. I'm talking maybe even 2. Right now, I'm actually working on a blockchain book for children.
Oh, nice.
So
nice.
I'm working on 4 different things. You got from ages 2 to 5, ages 5 to 10, and up, so on and so forth.
Right.
I can really, at a young age, introduce them to the idea of blockchain and what is blockchain from the simplest forms, you know, something that they can understand. And that, you know, will inherently, hopefully, spark their interest to want to do other research outside of me once they get older. You know what I mean? And maybe before typing in Peppa Pig, they'll type in Bitcoin or XR. You know what I mean? You never know. They listen. They really do listen, and they watch what you do. Believe it or not, they really watch what you do. They repeat what you say, and you know, if you get to these children at a young age, you really can change the trajectory of their lives because they're not hearing things like this in school. You know what I mean? The school system is built to keep us working. It's not built to make us rich, and everybody can't be rich, unfortunately.
Well, you know, funny, I always say, and some people might get offended by it because I'm not talking about our roots of slavery, but I'm talking about financial slavery, and that's what we're taught is to stay in the game of financial slavery.
Exactly.
But you know, what do you think the Rockefellers are doing? What do you think the Hilton family with all the, you know, like Paris Hilton? She didn't put up one hotel. What do you think the Walmart family is going to do? They're going to educate their kids on how they built what they have, and that way it continues on. So that's what's really important to me as you know, I continue this pursuit of financial freedom for sure.
Yeah, most definitely. Okay, so the next one I have for you was how does learning about digital assets enhance financial literacy among struggling individuals, and why is it important?
Well, I think at the end of the day, most people are sick and tired of being sick and tired. Most people are trying to figure out a way, but most people don't have the answers. They think that you know, it's hard to believe that you can make 100,000 if you never had 1,000. Right? It's hard to think that you can have 1 million if you never had 10,000. So one of the things that I've learned, like, it's so much information out there. And obviously, you know, I always say the greatest thing about crypto is anybody can do it. And the worst thing about crypto is anybody can do it. And what I mean by that is you got guys on YouTube that, you know, 2 years ago they worked at McDonald's, and today they're telling you to take courses on my YouTube channel to teach you how to be rich. And the truth be told, and I'm not trying to be funny, as you talk to a lot of these cats, they're not even there yet. You know, so I'm not trying to say they can't teach it. I'm not belittling anyone. What I'm saying is that you got to go out there and you've got to go out and figure this thing out. It's not, you can get some pretty good ideas from people like myself, from people like you, or other people who are in it sincerely to help others win, which is what I've been doing my whole life. But yeah, I think it's really important, man. I think you know, if we're gonna change our family's future, we have to, you know, they say once you change everything up here, everything around you changes. And so I think it's very important to go out there and learn and educate yourself. And I mean, but you know, like I said, it's some great people in this space. I've got some really favorite individuals in here, like your Lewis Jacksons, your Zach Rectors, your Jake Clavers, your Molly Amores, Jimmy Val. There's so many great people that are in this space where, you know, you can get, you know, really authentic education and help, and then you just take those little things that interest you or whatever it is that you have, and just start going out there and doing the research on it. But yeah, I think it's definitely important.
Exactly, and that's very important because the easiest way to get wrecked is to follow someone blindly. Because when something bad happens, let's say a coin drops or it goes bankrupt or whatever the case may be, you're going to blame that person. So it's very important for us to have our own idea of what it is outside of listening to others and what they say, because they may have a lot of, you know, good info and stuff like that, but it's good for us to really know the information so that we can teach others rather than us being taught and then putting it, you know.
And by the way, Romeo G and all you guys that are out there, this is not my stream. This is his stream, and I'm a guest on his stream. So I'm streaming at the same time, but this is 100% his stream, and I'm his guest, and I'm doing this to help my brother shine. So and let you guys see how amazing he is and his mindset and so forth. So no, but I agree with you 100%, bro. I agree with you 100%.
Yep. And another thing that I wanted to say was about ownership and control. Because we all know blockchain enables individuals to have control over their assets. And that's the most important thing. Everything in this world we own because of someone else's seizure. We don't own it because of our own. So it can be snatched away from us. You have a house, the government can take that away. You have a car, the car can get repoed. You know what I mean? So a lot of the things we actually don't own, the only thing that you can actually truly own is digital assets if you have it on cold storage. If you keep it on Coinbase or things of that nature, if that company goes down, your crypto's going with it. So you know, best to believe you gotta own your own keys, and own your asset, man. It's very important.
Yeah, no, I think that's you're right. You're right on the money. And I think one of the things that I've been talking to outside of like my group and just to my family and friends is getting priced out. I think right now, man, we're on the verge where people are going to start getting priced out really quick. And I think, I think people need to recognize where we're at. Right? We're not. This is not. People talk about 4-year cycles and we're going to have a bear market this time. I think trying to, I think those who think they got this figured out based off of previous cycles, they're going to get wrecked because I think everything has changed right now. And I think we're in a position right now that at any moment, it's like we're sitting in a position right now that at any moment, at any moment, things could get dropped or a regulation can come out or ETFs can get approved, and you could see an asset like, let's say, XRP or any other utility asset jump up $5 or $10 out of nowhere. And I think like even when you go back like 9 months ago, I think it was November 8th or November 4th, XRP was at 50 cents. And so I think if you go back not even quite 9 months ago and you look at the fact that you can get 10,000 XRP for a certain price, and where it's at now, you're lucky. I mean, some people right now honestly can't even get 1,000 XRP.
Exactly, 1,000 XRP right? Will be about $3 grand.
You know what I'm saying? So and how many people, there's a study going around right now saying if people had an extra $500, it would keep them out of bankruptcy. So because I know some people I know some people in this space right now who are pretty big into space and they don't have as much crypto as they want to have because times are hard. People have kids, people have mortgages and houses, and responsibility hasn't stopped because opportunity presented itself. Right. So you got to go out there, and it's almost like, what are you willing to give? What are you willing to put on the line? What are you willing to fight for? We'll go out there and have a yard sale so we can go to the casino. Are you willing to go have a yard sale to change your tomorrow? And so it's that's kind of, I think, the urgency is where I'm trying to get my family and friends to understand right now, the urgency that you can look up and see. I know there's here this week, even though I haven't been around for 5 days, there's been some, my man Jake Claver went on here not too long ago and gave a prediction based off of all things fall. Now, people have to remember what he said is if everything falls into place for XRP, that's like 6, 7, 8 different things. He goes, we might see $1,000 XRP by January 2026, but that's if everything fell into place. Then you saw Dom and his brother. I can't remember their name, but I've just invited him to do a show. He said $1,000 by 2030, regardless of who's right. What are you willing to do in the next 4.5 years? I mean, think about if you had a lottery ticket and you knew the winning numbers were going to be revealed, your winning numbers are going to be revealed in 4.5 years. What are you willing to do between now and then? And I really think, I'm not saying 1,000 by 2026. I'm not saying Jake is wrong either if things do fall in place. But even if it took till 2030, my God, what are you willing to do to put yourself in position for that type of boom? That's $1,000 XRP in 4.5 years.
Yeah, and that's a good point that you made. It's like, what are you willing to give up to go up? What are you willing to stop doing? Where are you willing to cut costs in order to invest, in these assets? Because in the next 5 years, next 3 years, it can be a totally different ball game. And that's because we have a totally different ball game now, a crypto-friendly president. These things are in place, and now is not the time to play games. We got to get serious, guys. Like, it's not. I try to stress this all the time. Like, even to my fiance, she's tired of hearing me talk about this stuff because she's not going to space. So, she doesn't. I'm telling her, I know XRP is going to be a couple hundred next couple years or to 1,000. She's like, well, how do you know? Well, I'm just in this space. I'm focusing on this space. I'm looking at the micro and the macro events that's going on. I'm doing my research. And once you do your research, it's like, we're in a small community. It seems like everybody knows about it, first of all, when you're in a community. But a lot of people really don't know about this space. And it's like, I always tell people, especially my other family members who aren't even in this space, is that this is really the opportunity of a lifetime. What are you willing to give up to go up? And if you are willing to make that sacrifice, you got to do it now. You got to do it now. You have to start now. Seriously, because you purchase these things at a price that you deserve, and I'd rather purchase XRP at $3.50 than at $500.50. You know what I mean?
Well, so crazy. Big Watch Dude just made a comment right now, one of our community members, and he said, people will definitely be priced at $100. I think people are going to be priced at $10.
Yeah.
That's what's so crazy. Like you got to understand, like, there are people who could afford a Bitcoin, maybe a handful of them at 1,000. But this was a 4-cent damn asset at one point, right? So then it gets to 10,000. Like, damn, maybe I can come up and get one of them. 100,000 people are dreaming like you can get a Satoshi, you get a fraction, and that's what people don't understand. I don't think it's gonna. I think, we talk about this all the time. People don't realize that a $10 XRP right now puts it above Ethereum, puts it at number 2. Yeah. And so I think not only do we have institutional adoption, but when that FOMO kicks in, man, oh my gosh, it's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be crazy. Yeah.
It's gonna be extremely crazy. And so people are priced out now, honestly. If I was not in this, if I didn't get in this space when I got in this space, to be honest, I would have been priced out. You know what I mean? Because, like you said, times is hard. It's inflation. We all have things outside of this that we have to deal with. You may need a little bit of money to take care of this and that. And, it's hard. That's why you really have to, get in where you fit in, get in early. And most importantly, hold on to the asset and don't treat this like gambling. I know a lot of people say, people who aren't in this space say, well, that's just like gambling. It's not like gambling. You know what I mean? If you take your money, you put it into an asset that has intrinsic value, you sit and wait and do nothing else, you will profit off of these assets. And then you'll get to a point where we don't even have to sell these assets. We'll be able to borrow and leverage. I come to think of it, JP Morgan actually is working on something, I think, with Robinhood or Coinbase to allow people to get loans back against their assets. So these things are coming. Like these things are coming fast.
And I think that's the key right now, man. And I think that, it excites me like I'm a little kid. And I tell you, backstage, I've raised 6 kids. I've just had my first grandkid, my daughter and her guy. And so, but what excites me, if I'm 20 years old again, man, is the fact that yield, that passive income, understanding that you can literally do some things right now. Just think about that for a moment. Think about if you can position yourself with, and I know we use XRP. You're a big fan of XRP. I'm a big fan of XRP. But imagine if you had, it's funny because people always say, "What's enough XRP?" And I think it just comes down to time. Because exactly. I honestly think 100 XRP in time is. Here's the thing. Let me say this. Mm-hmm. If anyone in this chat, whether it's your group or my group, told me that they knew somebody with 1,000 Bitcoin, I'd probably tell them they're crazy as hell. Right. Not me, but that's what people would think. 1,000. Man, you don't know nobody. Even if you met someone right now that says I got 100 Bitcoin, you said, man, get the hell out of here. Mm-hmm. But at 4 cents, you could have got 1,300 for a certain. You know what I'm saying? It was a little nothing. So it's just crazy because I believe that there's going to be a time that someone has 100 XRP, and maybe 5 years from now, if it does get to $1,000 or $3,000 or $4,000 or $5,000, some of these price predictions are crazy, $10,000. But even if it got to $1,000 and you got 1,000 XRP, how many people are going to believe that? Right. That's what I'm saying. Like that, the opportunity is such an exciting time to know that you can invest a little something that's going to change everything tomorrow. And then the yield that you're gonna be able to earn on that is crazy. Yeah, and it's crazy that you actually pointed that out because I see some people in this community saying, "Oh, well, you need 50,000 XRP minimum." Well, why? No. It depends on your lifestyle. If you have 500 XRP and then XRP goes to 1,200, that's life-changing money. Even life-changing 1,000 or 500, it's life-changing money. So we have to understand that we cannot allow other people who are in this space to FUD us out of this because that will FUD people out. That people will think, oh, I don't have 50,000 XRP. Let me go put my money in Doge. But you know what you just said too, though, brother, and this is something I really want you, and I want you to touch on this because I know you know what I'm saying when I say this. The biggest problem with us as people is we're always watching somebody else's pockets. Right. We're always trying to compare ourselves to somebody else. So we'll hear that someone's got 50,000. You don't need 50,000. The person who has 50,000, I got a daughter right now who's my youngest baby. She's 22, I think it is. And so her boyfriend has 50,000 XRP. I know some adults don't have that, but you can't. This dude got in when he started buying it like 12 cents. Exactly. So you can't, and this is a struggling college student who worked at a thrift store, who was taking most of his money, staying with his mom and dad, and investing in XRP. That was his conviction. I got another friend who lives in Athens, Greece. He sold his damn car and started buying it like 17, 20 cents. So everyone's story is going to be different, but I just think whatever you can get is enough for you. And the only difference between, where it's at now, where it's going, it's just time. It's just time because, like you said, $1,000 XRP. How many do you really need?
Right, exactly. And something that Michael Saylor had pointed out, he said sometimes a modest investment can become a genius thing in the future.
Right.
Modest investment in Bitcoin back in the day when it was $2, or you know what I mean. A modest investment back then, it makes you look like a genius now. You know what I mean? So we have to remember that, you don't need a whole bunch of these things, because if you can sit and wait 5-10 years, you can change your life. It's better than waiting for your retirement when you turn 60.
Well, think about this. Think about this. So let's say you had 1,000 XRP, right? Mm-hmm. It hits $1,000. Let's say that happens in 2030. That's $1 million. Okay. Mm-hmm. You times that by what most I think very competitively we'll see at the very minimum people giving out at least 5% yield. There's going to be some people who are aggressively giving more than that. I already know that. I already have had conversations with people, but that's $50,000 a year. So if you divide that by 12 months, that's sitting on your butt making just over $4,000 a month. You see what I'm saying? Now that's may not be that exciting, but that's at $1,000 XRP. What happens when it hits 2,000 and you just gave yourself a raise to 8,000 a month, or it hits 4,000 and you're making 16,000 a month? You know what I'm saying? That to me is crazy.
And that's just the power of knowledge. We have to gain knowledge. The power of knowledge. It can really take you far, because work is honestly overrated. Not to say that we shouldn't work, but if we actually use our minds and research these things, we can change our situation just by the thought and the action behind it. You know what I mean? Like it's really not that hard. People make it harder than what it has to be. Man. And also people are so quick to sell their assets for a small fortune. You know what I mean? Right. Don't think of yourself in this situation. Think of your kids, think of your grandkids. This is something that has to go beyond us. You know what I mean? It has to go beyond us, and that's the only way we're going to be able to set our families up for the future, things that our ancestors or other people were not really able to do back then. You know what I mean? Because back then you had to know somebody who knew this info to even get ahead. You know what I mean?
Let me say this. Here, I don't like, and you know this as well. We don't want to give out financial advice, right? Mm-hmm. But if I was starting out today, right? If I was starting out, then I've been in this since 2017. I'm in a totally different position. But if I was starting out today, my thought process would be stacking as much XRP as I can, right? As much as I can, or whatever your asset is. It's not just, whatever you believe in, but I'm just going to stick with XRP because that's one of my biggest holdings. And to me, I think Melissa said the guy, it was Dom, his last name is KWOK, and his brother. And one was an attorney, one was like a financial guy. But my whole thing is it's like he said, 1,000 XRP. He's not only did he say $1,000 by 2030, but he says XRP is one of the most important, something along the lines, I can't remember, I got to go back and watch it, but one of the most important assets, what some of the most important potential in all of crypto, in all of, the connections, the partnerships, the problems that it's going to solve. So for me, I can't give financial advice, but if I was telling a family member, like if you were my family member, I'll be saying, look, get as much XRP as you can so that you can earn as much yield as it goes up. And you know what takes away the anxiety and the stress of this market is being able to position yourself that as you earn yield, I don't care if you get $1,000 a month. If whatever you're doing right now, you're working, you're doing something to make a living. Imagine adding 1,000 a month, and then 2,000 a month, and then 5. But what's most important about that? You're never touching your damn XRP. That means you won't miss nothing. That means that if it does get to 10,000, you didn't miss nothing. Right. You just got these crazy ass raises for throughout that whole process. And so imagine one day you're making 20, 30, 40, 50 grand a month. And you're able to sit back, even 5,000, 10,000, whatever it is, to keep it in perspective. And then you're able to wait to see $5,000 XRP, 10,000, and you don't care because every time it goes up, you're not trying to look. I'm not worried about cashing out for a damn this and that and everything else. What I'm worried about is just being relevant and being around and holding it so that I continuously get these raises for doing nothing. Well, obviously position myself, but as this asset continues to get the technology gets adopted and utilized for what it was created to solve, then what happens is just over time, man, you change your life. Now, instead of worrying about taking out your XRP to go buy a $500,000 house, there might be a goddamn time that you're making $500,000 a month.
Right. Yeah.
You know so that's the part that keeps me up. Sometimes, man, I just wake up. My wife's, you okay? I'm like, man, I'm thinking about yield. I can't even sleep. I can. Like, I told you backstage, like I missed the last 5 days. And matter of fact, in 1 hour when I go live, my realtor is going to be on his name is Terry. Is my realtor I just hired. And I told you, dude, I'm a welfare. I don't want to say welfare. I came from welfare. I came from the project. They do me a special ed. I took 15,000 in 17, and now we were out the last week looking for houses between $2 to $5 million. And I'm not saying that to try to impress anybody. I'm saying that it's freaking possible. It's possible. If you just, I think you must have something playing in the background. That's probably why I'm getting that. Yeah, I heard an echo right now. It could be like maybe you got the speaker on or something. Yeah, you're good though. But that's the so the thing that I always, it's funny because somebody was talking to me about like if you can explain your show, right? They were asking me if you can explain your show, and they went on and so they said, man, you got an incredible YouTube show, and man, your channel should be blowing up. And I said, first, I'm not in it for the money. Obviously, I would love to have a lot more people listen and all that kind of stuff. We've been shut down 4 times. I said, but at the end, 3 or 4 times. But I said, at the end of the day, this is about keeping it 100. I wish I had somebody I could have plugged into that just kept it a buck. Didn't overhype. Didn't tell me to go take their course. Didn't tell me this and that, but just kept it 100. And I remember when I got into crypto, I found a couple guys who had started from the bottom and were millionaires. And I was quickly able, because what it did is when I looked at some of these people were minorities, right? And I was like, well, damn, if he can do it, I know I can do it, right? And so that's what I try to do with my show, is just give people hope to say, man, look, if this guy from special ed, and I'm not saying I'm stupid, I was just a badass kid from Brooklyn, but if this dude on welfare, this dude who had every obstacle you can think of and then times that by 1,000 against him, if I can get in and do a little bit of research, just a little bit of research, and it made sense, like, oh my God, yeah, our money system is jacked up. Yes, it does take days to settle. Yes, we are in an old system with Swift. Yes, the evolution, like, and it's so funny because my guy John, he was so hyped that we were all eating dinner at this restaurant with my realtor as we were looking at houses all throughout this week, and we were having dinner each night. He was saying, he goes, man, people don't understand what's in front of us. They don't understand this is the evolution of money. Like, we're not talking about, I know people got excited, taxis to Uber or hotels but this is bigger than that. Yeah. This is even bigger than the damn internet. This is our financial system globally. So you're not talking about, I went to another country like China. They don't have Uber in certain countries. They call it something else. Right. So if I invest in an Uber, it's only in the areas. I mean, I know Uber is kind of all over the United States, but certain countries got their own Ubers or their own this or their own Airbnbs or their own whatever. You're talking about global. And when you're talking about global and you can get a piece of that, my man, you change everything. And that's why you don't want to be in a hurry to go, let me go buy a Bentley. Let me go get a house. No, get excited about yield. That's what's coming. That's literally, Jay Claver said in the next 6 to 12 months, not with his company, actually they offer it now. And they got some things that are coming out. I just actually got connected with him on an affiliate level, so I'll be talking more about it in a bit. But there's so many different things out there that are coming. I mean, you might walk out, man, and Wells Fargo might have a yielding program for crypto, because we know all that stuff just got approved. So the game's going to be different in the next 6 to 12 months for sure.
Yeah. For sure. What our people really have to understand also is that even if you do not understand digital assets, and it's not financial advice, you have to understand that these are deflationary, right? So the dollars that we have, it's somebody else's debt. If you transmute that money into something that's deflationary, your money's always going to go up against the devaluing dollar, and that's really important. So even if you do not understand anything about crypto, the one thing that you should know is that it's a deflationary asset, and that's very important, because you're going to get poorer and poorer if you hold on to the dollar. I mean, it just is what it is. It's by design. It's what when Nixon took us off of that gold standard, it really it helped them out in the meantime, but it messed up future generations, and that's that's the most unfortunate part of it. But we have an opportunity to take sovereignty over our own wealth, and it's very important that we do that. And like I said, not financial advice, but if you were to transmute your hard, your work money into digital assets, just know that, over time your money will rise because innately it's deflationary. So that's just what happens. Just like innately the dollar goes down year over year because it's just what it is. It's built into the mechanism.
Yeah. And I think there's some great stuff. Like I see people saying SHX, man, SHX, crazy potential. XCM, Zebek, there's so liquidity. There's so many things that they have crazy potential. But I think we're it's kind of like, it's funny because when we talk about XRP, everybody starts talking about all these other coins. And I think all these other coins have their own story, right? They have their own use case. I just think what people have to understand is this is our Bitcoin moment.
Yes.
And I don't know, I don't even know how to explain, but like, because everybody's like, damn, Jay, you sure do talk about XRP. Well, if you go back on my channel, I talked about a lot. I used to do a coin a day, a coin a week. We used to talk about different assets. But the thing is, it's the timing. If we could all quantum leap. Remember, there was a movie called Quantum Leap. You can go back in the past, like in the time machine. If we can go back in a time machine at a $3 Bitcoin, like we know about it now. But if you'd have said at $3 that we were looking at 100,000, man, you know what? They probably would have banned you. They probably would have egged your house and called you an idiot and threw both our asses in special ed as adults. Right? They called us crazy. Yeah. So it's always easy to look at, I always say people's faith, man. It's kind of like people, yeah. It's bigger than faith. It's not just faith, but it's understanding everything that's happening. I think the biggest problem with people is that we're the type of, most people are their belief is based off what they can see. Right? That's why a lot of people are, is there a God? I can't see him. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you got to have the faith. You got to do the due diligence and the research. And then, oh my God, he is real. Or in this case, what they got in place is real. What they got, it is happening. And it's going to happen with or without you. It doesn't matter what you think. Just understand that somebody back in the day thought Bitcoin would never hit 10 grand. And look where we're at now. And so,
and you have to pay attention to your surroundings. And what I mean by that is, there's something called predictive programming, right? And what predictive programming is, to my understanding, is they show these things in movies, believe it or not. There was a show in 2012, I believe. I forget what the show was called, but they were talking about Bitcoin. It was a whole episode on Bitcoin at the end of the show.
I see it all the time.
The girl was like, I just bought $100 worth of Bitcoin. It was like at $2, and then the other guy was like, it's the future. You know what I mean? Then just recently, it was a movie that came out. It was called Elemental. The main character was Wade Ripple, and then there was another, and then the girl character was I forget her first name, but her last name was Lumen, and it showed how fire and water ran across bridges of liquidity, and how it would come together and merge together. I mean, it's crazy. And then recently on Netflix, they cloned Tyrone with Jamie Foxx. There was a scene in there when she said, I don't got to deal with none of your stuff. I don't got to deal with none of your stuff. You know why? You know why? Jamie Foxx said, why? She said, blockchain. You know what I mean? So we really pay attention to TV shows and movies. You might, there's a ton of them. So, if you come across it, you come across it. But pay attention because they tell you what's going on. I don't know whether it's the writer, whether it's the director. Somebody behind the scenes knows something, and they're going to put it in their work. And I caught on to that, and I'm like, hold on, this is crazy. Like, so that's a big thing as well.
Yeah, the thing I tell people right now, man, is just embrace this moment. And it's funny because I don't know, I'm not sure how long you've been in crypto, but just everything is lining up for us perfectly right now. Between, I'm not saying everything in this country is perfect, but everything's lining up where everyone was kind of waiting for America. And now what's happening, like you said, with Trump, with all these, the Genius Act, now the Clarity Act is coming and regulatory clarity. So it's in the best interest to move forward because people, banks, institutions, they understand that this is the way. It's no more that you don't hear Jamie Dimon calling it battery acid no more. You don't hear Larry Fink saying it's poison, rat poison. No, they're on board. Even Warren Buffett, I was having this conversation the other day with my buddy, and he was like, yeah, Warren Buffett, he doesn't want to admit he was wrong, but what he went out there and did is allow his company to go out there and buy companies that whole asset. So it's just look, man, don't listen to what they say, watch what they do. That's the bottom line.
And that, that's definitely the bottom line.
Yeah.
I really didn't have any more questions for you today. So, what I just wanted to let everybody know is, again, you can follow me on X at the new 1%. You can follow my YouTube at the new 1%. And I'm looking forward to, talking to you guys, hearing from you guys, hearing your feedback. And and do what you need to do. My financial advice: buy whatever assets you want to buy, whether it's Ondo, whether it's Chainlink, whether it's XRP, whether it's Adara, you know what I mean? Whether it's any of these digital assets, do your research and get in where you fit in, and do not wait too late, because this market is not going to wait for you. The government is not going to wait for you. Donald Trump is not going to wait for you. The SEC is not going to wait for you. The only person that can change your life right now at this very moment is you. And if you understand the opportunity that's at hand, that gives you the opportunity to become a part of the new 1%.
That's a fact. No, well said, my man. Well said. And thank all you guys. Thank you again, Ness, for putting his now TikTok up here. He's got your TikTok up. He's got your he's got your X up, your TikTok up. So you guys make sure you guys go follow the new 1%. And sometimes I do panels. We have these random panels. I haven't been doing them as much lately, but we'll have people like Ness Force and others that are on here. I'll make sure I bring you up on the panel next time we have one. It's a lot of fun. We just be talking about whatever, and so we're gonna get back into that as well. And again, guys, for those of you guys watching, make sure you guys go support my brother, the new 1%, on his TikTok, on his X, all those good things. And again, in 45 minutes, I'll be going live doing my normal show. And so I'm really, really excited about that. Kind of covering some of the things I've seen this week. Some of the calls out by Jake and some other people, and Zach and those guys. So really looking forward to that. Anything else you want to add before we get up out of here, man? This is your show. So anything else you want to?
No, the only thing I wanted to say was I definitely appreciate this opportunity. Like I said, there's a lot of people who don't even respond to my DMs or any of that. So being as though I reached out to you through on X, just through the comments, and you responded, I definitely am appreciative of that, man. And I'm 28, so I'm just I'm out here living life, and it's just I'm trying to start my YouTube up and get it growing, and I'm just very appreciative of the opportunity that you were presenting me today. So thank you.
Yeah. Well, you're welcome, man. And we got to go out there and let everybody know what's going on. And I was very excited to hear from you. And like I told you before, I have another link on my StreamYard that's connected to my man Uda Farina, but I wanted to make sure I kind of got to know who you were. I wasn't able to share it on his channel, but you guys do me a favor, go follow my man, the new 1%. Go out there and show him support. I know also this week, what are we on Tuesday? So tomorrow we'll be having a World Be Free Dip and Toe. Make sure you guys go check her out. Check out Milka Mafia. Check out Six8Jay. Check out like anything you can do to just keep that information flowing, guys, with some of the greatest people in the space, like your Zach, your Jake Clavers, guys. Education, educate yourself. And you want to go out there and share this with everybody else, guys, but just make sure that you're doing the things that you need to do to position yourself and your family, because sometimes, man, helping other people can just be a drain to your soul. You would think, and I'll say this, you would think, even in my position, I tell my wife this all the time, in the position that we're even at right now, 5 years, we left California, we've been traveling all over because of crypto, we're out shopping for a home and all these things, but there's still people who won't even listen to us to this day still. Right. And so you can't change stinking thinking. Some people just program, hey, I'm okay, and it's not going to be meant for everybody, right? Anybody can do it, but not everybody's going to do it. And so as soon as you understand that, the better off you'll be, because sometimes we want to help people so much that it hurts us. And yes. I had to learn to just let go, man, and just I had to learn that.
It will piss you off when you try to teach people this, and they don't listen, and then they want to come back and ask you, oh, is it a good time to buy? It's like, I've been telling you this for the last 5 years. What are you talking about? But hey, it is what it is. Man, you can't walk. You can't make them drink. You could just walk them to the water.
Shouts out to my beautiful queen, Jeanette McFadden. That's my baby. She's up in here in the house showing you some support. Okay. Appreciate you, sweetheart, in a major way. So, guys, with that being said, my man, thank you so much for having me on your show. You can close it out however you want to. This is your thing. So the floor is yours.
All right, yeah. So, guys, once again, thank you. Thank you, Jay, for the opportunity. And like I said before, guys, do what you guys need to do to become part of the new 1%. And with that, we out.
See you guys in 40 minutes. Peace.